Ahmet, where do the interests of these two countries converge here?
Well, Adnan, it seems that the France on its diplomacy and the highest level, Macron is indulging the brutal crackdown of al-Sisi, basically because of two main interests. The first one is their animosity to the growing power of Turkey in the region, and the second, their crackdown on political Islam. These two leaders share these two main interests, and that's why you would see Macron embracing Sisi, who's been very notorious in terms of the crackdown on dissent, silencing all the opposition, including the three activists from the Egyptian personal freedoms that they've been jailed in November just for meeting French diplomats and other Western diplomats. That's the irony that these leaders are living now at now.
So many people we speak to, and many of them are Egyptian nationals, they say that Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is worse than Hosni Mubarak. I mean, how are Egyptians living through this man's rule?
Well, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the day he came to power with a coup, a very brutal coup, when killing in Rabi al-Adawiyya Square, over one night, more than 800 people, according to lots of international organizations, including Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. This man has started by silencing the opposition whatsoever in order to get the legitimacy after overthrowing the first democratically elected president in Egypt, in history of Egypt, if you will. And when he came, the first thing he did is trying to completely alienate all the opposing voices, including the Muslim Brotherhood, demonizing all the opposition and trying to paint them with the brush of terrorism in order to kind of find a pretext or an excuse to the brutal crackdown on dissent. And that's why he is completely different from Hosni Mubarak, who at the end of his era gave some room to the political opposition. Now, with the coming of Joe Biden, lots of reports are saying that it's not the golden era of Donald Trump. He is not going to have the green light to go ahead with the crackdown on dissent. And there will be a change because lots of international organizations are now focusing on Egypt, trying to shed more light on these kind of crimes that he's committing. Now, this move by Macron is, again, it's singing a different tune of the international community pressure that is trying to be put on Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt.
Yeah, another area, Ahmed, where they may be going against the international community is in Libya. You remember a few months ago when Khalifa Haftar, the warlord, was very much on the back foot in terms of the military confrontations which were happening with the troops of the UN-recognized government. Haftar went to Egypt to meet Sisi. So that's how close they are. And we know what Macron is doing as well is not really in line with what the international community believes should be happening in Libya in terms of who should be ruling, and a UN-recognized government is, of course, there. What are the ideas that France and Egypt might have for the future of Libya?
Well, this is a wonderful point, Adnan. For Sisi, Libya is the backyard of the fight with Turkey, and for Macron, it is again the battle against Turkey in the region. And both these leaders don't want Turkey to have a footprint in that area. And that's why they would say that the Sisi would, from now then, would send some troops, mercenary, and support Haftar with arsenal and lots of weapons to fight with the other National Accord, internationally recognized government. And the same thing that Macron is trying to do to embrace Khalifa Haftar, who is internationally recognized as the warlord in Libya, and try to put him on the table, though Khalifa Haftar himself, for more than once including Russia, in France, in Egypt itself, a kind of withdrew from all the agreements, and they refused to sign all the ceasefire and retaliate again and again in order to play this role of war and bloodshed going on in Libya for the sake of making the whole region in trouble. And that's what Macron is supporting. That is the biggest bizarre thing in the diplomacy of France.
That is our editor-at-large, Ahmet Alioglu. Ahmet, thank you so much indeed.